yo, boys, this is the moment. This is the most requested killer in Dead by Daylight. Hands down. Hands down. Most people want Jason in Dead by Daylight. There's a chance that he might not ever come to Dead by Daylight due to a lawsuit that's going on, but a lot of people really want him in the game because he is so goddamn iconic. I'm going to draw attention to the fact that I have called the character The Lawsuit. Now, if there's anything that shows you guys that I am not doing this for seriousness, I am not doing this for balance and saying,
this is how he should 100% be in the game, because this is the most balanced power in the entire world. These perks are perfect.
That's not what I'm trying to say. Okay, just get that into your skulls, please. Please, please, please. It's for entertainment. Just watch the video, sit back, relax, and think,
hey! That power's kinda cool. That would be fun.
I've also called in the lawsuit to draw attention to the fact that I am aware that there was an ongoing lawsuit, or still is an ongoing lawsuit. It's debatable. We don't know whether or not Jason would ever be in Dead by Daylight. Therefore, this is not a prediction, nor is it a recommendation. This is simply a concept for fun. Everybody get on. Please, for the love of God, everybody be nice. If you're not aware who Jason is, he is from the Friday the 13th series of films. There's about 1 billion of them, so I recommend watching a couple of them just to get an idea of who Jason is. But his basic backstory is he was born with facial deformities. Because of these facial deformities, Jason's mum, Pamela Voorhees, was really overbearing and kind of made sure that he wasn't mixing with other kids in case he was kind of made fun of. Unfortunately though, at some point he had to mix with kids, and because his mum got a job as a cook at Camp Crystal Lake, he had to just mix with other kids. As Pamela predicted, the kids started to bully Jason, and one day they chased him out onto a dock, and then he eventually fell into the lake and drowned, supposedly. So this drove Pamela absolutely insane, especially because the counselors and the other adults that were supposed to be looking after her son were too busy fucking in a cabin to help. The interesting part about the death is that they never found Jason's body. They looked through the lake, they looked through the lakeside, they looked through the forest, they never found him. So the investigation was kind of called off and they deemed it as an accident. This obviously led to Pamela going nuts and just killing the 2 counselors that she blamed for the death. Pamela then decided to try and keep the camp closed for as long as she could to stop what happened to Jason happening to anyone else. One year though, the owner decided to open it anyway and then hired a bunch of teenagers to do some refurbishment on the buildings. So Pamela didn't really like this, especially because they were young and they were fucking, and that triggers her now. She's like obsessed with people fucking being like really bad, so she decided to murder everybody. She murdered everybody that was working on that camp apart from one person, which is Alice Hardy. Alice managed to take the machete and kill Pamela herself, cutting off her head. It then turned out that somehow Jason had been surviving in the woods this entire time, and it just so happened that he was there watching as his mum got decapitated. Now remember when I said that Jason had been kept socially isolated? So he was obsessed with his mum, right? His mum was his rock. Without his mum, he was nothing. So this hit him really fucking hard. It hit him so goddamn hard that he decided that he was just gonna murder everyone and went on a complete rampage for like 20 films. So I'm aware that in the movies, things get a bit more supernatural and he starts getting extra powers and shit, but I'm going to focus on the fact that he's just a really strong guy with an uncontrollable rage because he's seen his mum get killed. That's kind of what I'm going to focus on. I thought it'd be really cool for the Dead by Daylight lore if the entity took him just after he tried to kill Alice on the lake. I thought that would be a really cool moment for the entity to come and take him. So his rage is at his absolute maximum. He's just seen his mum die. He's just failed to kill the person who killed her. He is absolutely in a state of rage, and that's when the entity takes him to go and enter the trials. I hate that I even have to say this, but I am aware that if he got taken at this point, he would not have his hockey mask, okay? I know, but you can't put him in the game without the goddamn hockey mask, okay? It would not work. Speaking of the hockey mask, obviously there are a ton of skins you could do. There are so many skins you could do for Jason. Honestly, I can't even talk about them in a video because there are so many. If you guys have a favorite, let me know down below. Let me know about the weapons he could use because honestly, he just grabs anything and uses it as a weapon. So there has so many opportunities for cosmetics. They could make so much fucking money from Jason, and it's just a shame that it hasn't happened yet. Like I said, I'm going to stay away from the supernatural stuff. I had a few ideas where he could like appear in pools of water. He could get more powerful if he stood in water or if a survivor stood in water, because he kind of does have that ability in some of the films. But I'm going to keep it nice and simple, keep it to the basic idea of Jason being enraged. So his power is called Jason's Revenge. The lawsuit can use his power, Jason's Revenge, to remember his mother's death and reinforce his lust for vengeance. So the whole premise is he gets fucking angry and goes nuts. That is it. That is what it's about. Tap and hold the power button to charge, and the lawsuit will enter a state of rage, focusing on nothing but his victims. So in terms of how that would work, think about like the spirit. She holds the button, then you release it and she kind of goes off. That's kind of how Jason would work as well. While the revenge is active, the lawsuit moves at a slightly increased movement speed. Nothing too crazy, just slightly fast. You can picture it from the films. He kind of does like a power walk kind of thing. That's kind of how this would work. He becomes immune to all stunts, including blinds. One of the most famous things about Jason is he just doesn't go down. You hit him with shit, you stab him, he just stands there and takes it. So I thought it would be mad for me not to put that into the power. Going off that idea, I thought it would be really cool if he also had the ability to walk through and destroy breakables. So he moves at his normal speed when he does that. Think about like Spirit Fury without the stun. So if somebody drops a pallet, he can walk through it, but only when obviously this power's active. I thought it would be kind of criminal to not give him a grab move. I think Jason needs a grab move. He grabs people a lot in the movies. So the only way I thought it would kind of work in Dead by Daylight is if they were already injured and you could grab them straight away without putting them on the ground. You could then obviously carry them to the hook and hook them. But I thought rather than having them so you can just instantly grab someone, it has to be when they're injured. It just leaves a few seconds on the hook. I think that makes sense. It makes sense for Jason. It makes sense for the game. And it could be a lot of fun. Like, I imagine running away as the survivor and be like, oh my god, fucking don't grab me, don't grab me. And then he'd grab me and I'd swear at the screen, basically. I just think it would be absolutely amazing. It would be a ton of fun from the killer and from the survivor as well. I'd like to see something like this for Jason. Naturally, if you miss the lunge, it does stun him and ends the power, similar to Legion. Again, similar to Legion, once the power ends, he is slowed for a few seconds as he kind of regains his senses. As with a lot of the abilities similar to this, Jason's Revenge depletes the lawsuit's power bar. The power bar automatically replenishes over time, and it has to be fully replenished before it can be triggered again. You can't like charge it halfway to only run halfway. It has to be fully charged to activate the Revenge. So this was the idea I came up with based on the kind of rage, based on Jason being plucked by the entity at this moment when he's absolutely insane and just wants to murder everything. I thought this would be cool. He's kind of invulnerable. He runs through pallets and shit. This to me is on brand Jason 100%. Maybe there could be other stuff going on with like his mum's head, the machete, the sweater, all those kind of things. But I did want to keep it kind of far away from Friday the 13th, the game as well. I want it to be fun. I want it to be like, in my head, I was picturing he's like the giant from last year, like that kind of mechanic with the running and grabbing and stuff. I thought that would be really nice for Jason. But let me know what powers you guys would do. I'm more interested in what you guys have in your heads, what creativity you guys have in your heads, rather than the balance of my power. Like, it's just an idea, it's just a concept. Just go with use your imaginations. What do you guys want? How would you put Jason in Dead by Daylight? I'd love to hear it. So with this power done, let's go on to the teachable perks. The first perk is called Maternal Instinct. I needed to get something in there about his mum because she's such a huge part of the films and such a huge part of Jason's life that I had to get it in there. And I kind of wanted to put her head on a perk icon. It's kind of like the main thing I wanted to do. I was like, right, how do I get her head in there? Because it's so funny. He like, if you don't know about the films, he kind of grabs the head and makes a shrine to his mum. So I had to get that in there somehow. The perk is really basic. Basically, when a survivor fails a skill check, their aura is revealed for 6 seconds. Really, really simple. Really nice to combine with some of the other aura reading perks. I just thought it'd be quite nice to put in. And it makes sense with his mum kind of guiding his slaughter. So I think it makes sense. The second perk is called No Place to Hide. And in this one, we introduce a brand new status effect called the Hunted status effect. So the Hunted status effect was a suggestion from somebody in the comments. They suggested it as just a perk, but I thought it would be really cool if this was an effect that you could apply with a few different characters. So with the Hunted status effect, you can see survivor scratch marks, whether they're crawling, whether they're walking, whether they're sprinting. It's the same all the way through. So the idea is you can hunt people even when they're trying to hide from you. It works with Jason because he's survived in the woods for so long, right? He survived in the woods for so long. He can kind of track animals and shit. Then it makes sense that he'd be able to track you even if you were being careful. And again, that works with the lore. He does a lot of hunting with like bear traps and shit. So it does make sense. I'm going to say with this one, because I have a feeling it is on the powerful side, it's just for fun. It's just an idea, right? Think about, hey, that would be pretty cool for Jason to be able to see scratch marks. That's pretty much the point of it, all right? So just calm the fuck down. The third perk is called You're All Doomed, and that is a quote from Ralph. I love Ralph. I just love that his name in the wiki is just Ralph. So I wanted to put it in because it's Ralph.
You're going to Camp Blood, ain't you?
God damn it, Ralph, get out of here. Go on, get. Leave people alone.
You'll never come back again.
Oh, shut up, Ralph.
So the idea behind this perk is because this quote is kind of said at the start of the movies, I wanted to make it kind of like a start of the game perk. So what I've done is when the first generator is completed, all survivors that were performing any repair actions on this generator gain the exposed effect for 60 seconds. Survivors that did not perform repair actions on this generator gain the exhausted effect for 30 seconds. So everybody's cursed, everybody gets affected by this, regardless of anything. But you gotta remember, it does take up a perk slot. So if you're using this, you've got some early game kind of power, but you don't have an ongoing effect throughout the rest of the trial. So I think it does make sense with the lore. It kind of makes sense with Pamela Voorhees as well. So she's kind of angry at people that are both... I love my logic behind this. Pamela Voorhees is angry at people that are having the sex, but she also kills people that aren't having the sex. And that's kind of what I've done. Let me know if you've got any other ideas for perks, because that is the teachable perks all done. I made myself laugh. That's the important thing. So in these videos, I normally talk about the map, but it's kind of, it's so obvious. It's the most obvious thing in the world that it would be at Camp Crystal Lake. It's a perfect Dead by Daylight map. You've got vaults everywhere. You can put pallets down everywhere. There's got trees. You can even have some docks and things like that. It just makes sense. It would be amazing. In terms of a survivor, if we're sticking with the lore that I've gone with, which is where he gets picked up after Alice kills his mum, it would have to be Alice, right? But realistically, for the entire series, it would be Tommy Jarvis. He's kind of a more iconic character in Friday the 13th. But, let me know what you guys think for a survivor. I personally think that Tommy Jarvis would be a better survivor, but I like this style of Jason without the supernatural things. I almost forgot to talk about the attributes. I'm so fucking dumb. Right, okay, so... He walks at 4.6 meters a second, which is normal. That's when he's not in his power. He does have a 24 meter terror radius, which is slightly reduced. If I wasn't going for this kind of rage idea and I was going down the more supernatural route, I would have given him a more reduced terror radius, like Michael Myers. But because he's in rage, I figure he needs to have a bit more of a terror radius, because that's kind of, he needs to be like, oh shit, he's coming kind of vibe rather than a sneaky vibe. I just think that makes more sense, and it's a bit more fun with the ragey character. Obviously, he's tall. He's a fucking Hulk of a man. It's fine. We'll keep him tall. But that's it for Jason. Thank you guys for watching. I hope you enjoyed. If you did, leave a like and subscribe. In terms of what I'd love you guys to do, please let me know your ideas for your own powers and your own perks for Jason. I'd love to hear your ideas for skins and weapons as well. And in terms of new killers and survivors, let me know any ideas you have or you want me to make a video on. Let me know down below and I will try my best to make them. I'd love some absolutely out there ones. Some people that aren't going to happen in Dead by Daylight. The beauty of this format they've created on Dead by Daylight is there's very few games where you've got like perks, powers, and things like that. So you could put anybody in this format and make this kind of video and it would work. So I'm really happy to explore and look at some different options on this. I've seen someone mention like Shrek before, and I'm like, I am so down to do a Shrek concept. Like anything like that, just let me know. This is a fun channel. We're here to be entertained and just have fun and just laugh at ourselves. That's what we're about. Don't take it too seriously and you'll have a good time, all right? But with that being said, I hope you enjoyed and I'll see you in the next one. Goodbye.